Welcome to
Tzipi.
another episode of Tzuzamen. Hi, Tzip.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Shrage Biran, lawyer and
One of the leading lawyers.
To forget what's a lawyer.
an amazing person.
And founder of the Institute of Structural Reforms.
Wow, structural?
Reforms.
And we asked Shraga to come, we're welcoming the new Hebrew year, and Shraga is bringing a solution for Gaza, a very creative solution for Gaza. So, Shraga, tell us what it's all about.
And how come we'll have a better future?
First of all, it's a solution for the benefit of the Jews and Arabs alike, which is very important. Not to speak only about the Jews, not to speak only about the Arabs, but to see what can be done. Because the majority of the people of the Middle East, especially Gaza, and Hamas there in the north, and in the area of Shem and Jenin, the Arabs there want to live, want to be in peace, want to enjoy life. So our solution is a solution to the benefit of both the Jews and Arabs alike. That's first story. Second, this research work that the Institute has done during the last 30, 40 years is a story because during the 30, 40 years, we're living permanently. We have this terror and sucre, all the ruins and bloodshed and so on. So we have developed the idea during the years of bloodshed of wars, 4 wars in Gaza, so many wars here and there and so on. So we tried to follow it up. And first of all, around 5, 6 years ago, we come to a conclusion that we have to publish it as a research which is stating the basic foundings, which is that poverty is creating fundamentalism, is the base for fundamentalism. Fundamentalism creates the terror, is the base of the terror.
Right.
And terror is the bloodshed. And the terror is the economy which is making money and power on the blood, on the poverty of others. Gaza is the poorest place in the world. There are about 2,250,000 Arabs. The income the GDP per year in Gaza is $1,200 per year.
Oh.
Per year. Imagine, what does it mean? Now, if you want to go to school, you have to be a Hamasnik. If you want to get some kind of a and so on, you have to sacrifice everything to live there. This poverty is the base of they're desperate. They're looking for some kind of where can they find a solution? And they're surrounded, and they're living through 4 wars in camps that have been built during the times of Egypt and afterwards Israel and so on, which are the refugees, the former refugees of. So that is the situation of Gaza. And on that has been built the structure of the terror. And the terror meant that they are keeping them poor before the interventions of Israel. They've been poor before. And during the last 17 years, Gaza got about in philanthropy and income, so on, and from the $30 million from Israel. 17 years. And all that money went to the pocket and to the military elements of Hamas. The poverty all the time. And the whole world was all the time, quiet, peaceful. Nobody said, where is the truth? And we fought against it. And we had a conference, a very famous conference with the World Bank and so on. And we said to them, look where your money is going. And all the records of the World Bank and so on have not mentioned the story of where the money is going to. The philanthropy have been a lot of money. They got about $40 billion during the years in their pockets to keep their power and to create this 50,000 people that are the army of Hamas in Gaza. But I want to talk about the solution, not about the problem. And the solution is...
Well, you have to understand the solution based on the... No, we have to know the context.
Imagine.
Good, you told us the context. Yeah. But you are right that what we really need is really the solution. What you're looking for.
So what I'm saying that the solution that we are looking for is imagine a situation that the two big powers, the United States of America and China, is recognized by the United States as a big power that has to take place in solving such an important problem as the Middle East, where the big interests of China are here and the big interests of America are here. And no question that you should imagine a situation if they're coming to a summit and President Xi and President Biden are meeting together and saying, look, we want to create a task force, an international task force that should take over Gaza and create a situation that we are closing a deal with Gaza by way that we are closing. It means opening a new deal with the Gazans. What is the new deal? To invest, no more philanthropy, but to invest into the projects. There are about 12 wonderful projects that can create wealth to Gaza. First of all, we have in Gaza the gas that has been found there about 15 years ago by BG, British gas, which is valued billions of dollars. Because probably there's also not only gas, but also oil. It's number one. Number two, we have a project in Gaza, which is the port. And see that the map of the situation. It means that there is a Katza, which is the connection between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. Katza is over-occupied because the Suez is overcrowded. And we have the Houthis there and the whole story. So the Gaza port can be a flourishing element into the crossed areas between Egypt, Alexandria, and Cairo, and so on, and the Red Sea, where you have this wonderful port, which is called Yanbu. Yanbu is a port of 250,000 people, which is connecting the whole flow of oil from in Saudi Arabia. It's Saudi Arabia with the interest of China, because that is the port which is moving to China, the oil from Saudi Arabia to China. And there is a new town, a huge new town from Aqaba on the seashores, on the beautiful seashores from Aqaba to the south of Aqaba, which is a wonderful. It's on. You can take Google Earth and have a look, and you should see the work going on there now. Immediately, you can do it, and you should see it. It's a huge town. Now you have to understand that China is building a new Cairo, which they have invested there about $50 billion. They're building the new Alexandria. They're building the new connection of the elements which oil and gas and so on, which is going on to Egypt in the framework of the new Silk Road of China. China has invested in the new element, which is called the new Silk Road of China, about $1 trillion, $300 billion during the last 10 years. So they have a huge interest there that the Middle East should be peaceful.
But I want to ask you something.
They've invested also in Israel.
But I want to ask you something.
Yes.
I know that the Chinese are interested in developing and investing, but the question is if Hamas is interested that China will come and develop, because basically they want to take advantage of the situation and use their people to fight.
You are absolutely right. And that is the solution that we are suggesting. Because if the international task force shall take over Gaza, and you should close immediately, as has been done after the Second World War in the denazification. We are talking here about the Hamasization, which means that they close the connectivity, the banking system, and they should stop to get money, and they should not be able to buy, to give this penny to the population of Gaza, and they should not be able to keep anymore the salaries of their soldiers and so on. That should be the end, because they're crushed. They're not the same as they have been. But we don't know how to close, because our generals are always understand that to crush, to be victorious, it means to raise, to give, to kill him. And of course, we are praying that he should be killed, but he's not killed until now. So the question is how we can solve it, how we can counter by pushing him out, by creating a situation that he can't run anymore. So even these two elements are doing that. To take into account, it shall happen because there's another story behind it, which is the most important element. China is controlling Iran. Iran is the cancer. The metastasis of this cancer is Hamas, is Hezbollah, and all these guys, all these murderers. You have to understand it. And Iran is now in an awful economic situation. Inflation of about 40%, and a lot of strikes of teachers and workers and laborers and so on and so on. It's an awful situation. China is buying from Iran its oil, but it's in a special kind of a deal. For this oil, they're giving to Iran vouchers, paper. And by this paper, they can buy only in China, goods from China. And that is one of the biggest elements of their existence of Iran. So without China, Iran is out. It doesn't make any sense that Iran shall have to obey to this situation, that this task force that should rehabilitate Gaza by developing in a business-like manner, business investments. It's the whole situation.
China is willing to do it?
She wants to do it.
China? Yes. About 2 weeks ago, Jack Sullivan was sitting on behalf of Biden, because he's the real guy of Biden, and listening to the speech of you can see it of President Xi. And he said him, look, let's not compete anymore. Don't stop us. We are a big nation. We are 450 million people. We have 45 million scientists. We have 3,000 universities. It's not the situation that has been 15 years ago. It's new China. And China has a great interest to fight terrorism, because they have about 25 million Muslims in the west,
China.
the west of China, and it's only 25 million on billion and 450 million people, China, but still it's very important, because they're controlling a borderline of about 5,000 kilometers of China, so it's very important. So they have started to fight terrorism from the beginning. When the story and he has made a declaration that you can't forget it. We have to. I'm reading from a document signed by President Xi. Our counter-terrorism strategy we have to jointly crack down on all terrorist organizations and individuals, designated and so on. Crack down. If somebody is talking about crack down, it means it's not a slogan. It's the truth of the situation. But the United States has to acknowledge that they are partners.
But Shraga, wait a second. United States is a big partner, but Biden is over. And
he's firm 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months, more than 40 years in the desert of Sinai. Believe me, it's a lot of time. We are not living anymore that you have to go through the desert to finally come to Kna. 4 months is a lot of time if everything is already on the table. The United States, have a look, such a publicist like Farid Zakaria. He's very known in the United States and all over the world as a big speaker of basically the basic interest of the United States. And he's saying in an article in Foreign Affairs about 2 or 3 months ago, he said, look, China is a big power. It is a power which is selling. The export of China is bigger than any other country in 120 countries, including Canada. China is
obviously the next big power in the world. So the question is how much they can produce.
The whole corridor, Afghanistan, of Pakistan, the whole area between the Middle East, which is the corridor towards the Middle East, the whole story of this corridor is controlled by 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, which is about 300 million people in poverty. And who is taking care of that? The United States has left this corridor, including Syria and Iraq.
Yeah.
You remember the Bush story, okay? Yeah. So they left it in a vacuum. And China is taking it over in the framework of, this story of the Silk Road, the new Silk Road of China. So let them do it, because otherwise the story of Pakistan and what does it mean? What's happening in Afghanistan? If we are in our book describing the story of terror against women, it's not nobody's talking about it. You can't imagine.
Terrible. They cannot even talk outside on the street. Their voice cannot be heard.
Have a look about what's happening between the white and the black in Sudan. Have a look at the New York Times of yesterday or the day before yesterday. Christoph and so on. This, hunger. Awful, and especially terror against women, against kids, against it's the terror against women is the most awful story. You can't imagine what does it mean. I don't want to repeat to you because it's disgusting. Such people have not to be, and so on. So what I'm saying, let's the Chinese, and what Farid Zakaria says, go and acknowledge. Right. There's no more, you're not representing anymore the free world. Such a free world does not exist anymore. That was the dream after the crash of Soviet Russia, and everybody said that is the end of the world. Now should peace and so on, and America should be the great crown of the world. But it doesn't happen. So we have now about 4 or 5 countries which are practically populist, not democratic countries.
But also, Shrage, you didn't mention all the people on our side, the government that we have now, that they want Gaza for themselves. The question is how
there is enough power
how to prevent them change.
I believe that the Jews of Israel, majority, will come up against anybody that should not allow to reconstruct Gaza and to make it an area of peace, and cooperating with the second part of the beautiful area between the sea and the mountains of the surroundings of Gaza. We have presented to the government of Israel, we've presented a beautiful plan how to create. It's 1,350,000 dunams. All Gaza, you have to understand, all Gaza is 86 acres of land. That is the whole story.
Yeah.
It's about 360,000 dunam of land. It's about 5 times Tel Aviv, 6 times Tel Aviv. That is the whole story of Gaza. And Israel does not have any territorial claims against Gaza, because Gaza has been Sharon has stopped the whole story of, of the settlers of Gaza. And Gaza is Arabic, 99% are Arabs, okay? And you have to understand that in 2004, 2005, and 2006, Biden visited Gaza, visited Sharon. Sharon invited him to go and to see what the United States, in a bipartisan element, should go and invest in Gaza to solve the problems of poverty in Gaza. That was Sharon, and after him, Ehud Olmert, that was the prime minister after Sharon, is also invited once again Biden. And Biden was at that time saying, look, if you have to understand that poverty is creating fundamentalism and terror. And he is exactly, saying exactly what we have said. He's supporting, and we are calling it as the legacy, as the doctrine of Biden. That is the doctrine of Biden. If somebody wants to honor his contribution to the story of the beginning of this awful war that Israel has been attacked in such a brutal manner, that was Biden. And therefore, in my book, I'm calling him Noach, the just man of the the just man, Noach Tzaddik Haya. And because that is, by the way, the same elements of the same ideology about.
Do you believe something will be done?
China.
There is only 4 months left. Do you think it can be done?
Tell me that 4 months is not a time.
No, I think it's enough. I think so.
You have to come to a decision the same moment.
Who will push it?
It's not a question of time, it's a question of decision. It's
right.
On the table. You have to understand, he says, let's come and solve the problem.
So what can be done now? What can be done now?
It has to be a summit, immediate summit of Biden and Xi Jinping. And on that, they have to decide to found a task force, an international.
It's already in the talks. I'm the only thing.
Should close on Gaza and kill dramatically the story of Sinwar, this gangster, this
monster. So do you think it will happen?
Shall have to accept it. You have a look. During 6 years, there was a war between Saudi Arabia and Yemen. A lot of bloodshed. Nobody published it because they are not Jews. And nobody was capable to say that it's anti-Semitic, despite the fact that the Arabs and Assad are Semitic. So a war, awful war. China intervened, and it has been finalized in weeks, not in years. In weeks, it has been finalized in the war between Yemen, not the Houthis down there, but between the Yemen, the great Yemen, with Saudi Arabia has been finalized. No more war between Yemen and Saudi Arabia. That is possible. And if the people, the normal people, should understand that that is the solution, that is the way to finalize this bloodshed which is going on, it can be done.
The question is if they push Biden or wait for the new president.
The new president should have to fulfill it, no question about it. But you have to understand it's against the basic, because what is the alternative? That China should go in another way. Now Russia is not competing to continue to be a big power because they don't have cash. As the church used to say, we believe in eternity, but cash we need now. And the cash Russia needs, and it's incapable to assist and so on. China is capable. The United States is, of course, capable. And after this plea of Xi Jinping to America, they've started already to negotiate between the big in the Far East.
It's great news for the new year.
Yes, it's a great, but it has to be done in America. It has to be done by the public of America because America is still the big power of the world, and it has to shape this.
That's why I'm asking whether Biden will push for it, or they're waiting to see who will be the president, and then we can get.
Like that the public, the public should understand what does it mean, denazification. In the Marshall Plan, the Marshall Plan,
future.
all Germany and all the other elements had been, divided into zones of control. The American zone, the British zone, and so on. It took about 3, 4, 5, even 9 years to finalize the story. And take into account at that time, when Gaza should flourish, should become a place of riches and of culture and of everything possible. Now, at that moment, the dream of the Palestinians to have a Palestinian state in the Middle East, in Gaza, in Shem, in Jenin, in Ramallah, can come through.
Sure. Unbelievable.
Because then you should not have any problem of people that are rich, that are alive, that are kicking, that are moving, that they don't want to kill, they don't want to be killed, they want to live. That
Yes.
is a
I
normal.
believe so too. Yeah, no, it's a great vision.
I think it's a great vision, but I think
I'm saying to you,
you'll have to fight inside Israel with people like
the people that are listening to you, and the people which understand what does it mean. You can't imagine what kind of effect it will have on the whole world, because the situation is now not anymore a terror war. It's a interstate terror war. It's an interstate war, because everything which is now it's armaments of states, of big powers. It's not anymore a state war. But take into account the problem of terror. It's not only in the Middle East.
Right.
It's all over. We are describing the fact during the last 17 years, from 207 until 223, they've been killed by terror 145,000 people. And you have in the book the list how many were. So people should believe that situation. And The Economist, which is a reliable newspaper, has said, despite that it wasn't published during the years, and we pushed that it has to be published, nobody knew that the terrorists continued to crush. What happened really is that they published the march of the terror continues. 145,000 people murdered, women, children, and all that's what's happening here and there. So the story.
What's the name of the book?
The opening, what I'm saying to you, the opening, the new deal for Gaza is a new deal for the world to stop the terror. There are 2 billion, there are 8 billion people in the world today. Okay. Out of them, about 2 billion people are Muslims.
Shraga, the big picture is very clear. The small picture is Bibi and his government, and they have to be.
They should go to hell.
We agree very much, but meantime, they make hell everybody.
People, America and China are coming to an agreement that they're going
They are the only one who will
redevelop and to create. They're living, there people which are living the housing system, and we know a little bit about housing in the world.
Right.
We can rebuild Gaza and push the whole people of Gaza into human, by $150 billion, which is a joke in the financial world of today. It's a joke.
Tell us about your book. Show us the book.
The book which we are published.
Liberating Gaza. Wow.
Liberating Gaza, breaking the cycle of poverty, fundamentalism, and terror.
Amazing.
All that what I've been in a nutshell to describe is a research work that took about 25 years. And I have a feeling. It's not a feeling. I know. I mean, it's knowledge which is based on facts and figures, which is based on the history. I'm against the people which are always talking about history and history. We are starting from today. Said to you that Janus was a very famous god in the times of Plato and Socrates and so on. It had two heads. Tzipi, you listen to me. Two heads. One about the past, one about the future. Especially today when you have the AI, the second head of the future is the AI. So you can put your head, a little bit in the side and create a new head which is talking about the future. We are not talking about the past.
Right.
The history has changed. We are living in a new era. I want to tell you that I've published in China, the Academy of Social Sciences of China has published a book that I've written about the new era. The new era is the new era of the new wealth. The new wealth is not anymore, housing, buildings and machines and so on. The technology itself is the wealth.
Yeah.
Years and years, hundreds of years, the technology was creating the wealth. Today, the wealth is in the intellectual, in the minds of the people, and it's endless. It should create more and more wealth. Today, the world is becoming more well. It's something which you can imagine from the
Basically,
we have to pray.
The war is between the future and the past, because we believe in the future and we want to go forward, and those who hold the past against us are pushing everybody backward.
Within us.
And
so, what's your feeling? What's your feeling? Imagine the two powers should meet tomorrow.
And God, will be unbelievable.
Huh?
It will be great. It will be unbelievable.
The facts about Iran. Have a look into Iran. You can have a look in our book. Iran is bankrupt. It's not existing. And in one of the most important books about Iran that has been published lately in China, they're saying the following. The people which are governing China are very old, and they are going, to transfer, and the transfer should be dictated by the future, not by the past.
Right.
China, about Iran, next door. And
right.
Shraga, can we get your book on Amazon?
Yes, of course. Amazon is open to you.
Great.
So, listen, it's Rosh Hashanah.
We are preaching that people should, in the United States, should read the book and spread it over, because it's a message how to kill the terror all over the world.
Yeah, no, it's not on Gaza. It's a vision for the whole world.
Show us the book again. Shraga, please show us the book again so everybody can see it and order. And let's wish for a good year. And hopefully the leaders will do what they need to do in order to lead us in the right way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shraga.
Thank you. Shana Tova.
And see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.